This might be interesting here. Let's check it out. It's from a guy named Paul's Hardware. I've watched a few of his videos before. Here he has.
So as I
4 reasons not to buy an RTX 5050. All right, we can check this out. Let's go intermission screen. All right, let's see what we got.
So as I discussed on Tech News just a couple days ago, NVIDIA has actually launched the RTX 5050. It was supposed to launch in mid to late July per NVIDIA's product page, but now we have GeForce 576.88 drivers that are released. Those do mean the 5050 is now supported with the drivers, but we also have a bunch of listings for RTX 5050s that have gone up at Newegg. But you cannot
Wait, hold on. Let's start this over. Let's start this over. Because I feel like I just missed out on, I feel like I was moving my camera and I zoned out and I wasn't paying attention. So, look. We're going to start this over. My bad. All right. So, this video is going to be by Paul's Hardware. I've checked out a few of his videos before. Paul's Hardware, good guy, very informative and very, very educational. But this is intriguing to me because I'm actually kind of in the market to get a new GPU here in the future. Currently, I'm sitting on a 3060 Ti, and, you know, it's good enough, but I'm looking for, you know, maybe something in the newer generation of things. I've never really sat back and thought about a 5050. I probably would never buy a 5050. I would go something a little bit higher, maybe like the 60 Ti or 70 range. But let me listen to its 4 reasons as to why not to buy a 5050. Maybe I could be educated. That way I can steer other people in the right direction if they try to buy something that was, you know, not good.
So as I discussed on Tech News just a couple days ago, NVIDIA has actually launched the RTX 5050. It was supposed to launch in mid to late July per NVIDIA's product.
Mid to late July, but starting at $249. I ain't gonna lie, for that price though, for some people, that could be a budget price that could make a big difference. You know, you got, you know, GPUs that are pushing $700, $800, $900,000. For someone who maybe might be building like a budget PC, maybe their first PC, and they just want like a newer graphics card that's something that has ray tracing on it. $250, man. I mean, how much bad can you say about $250? Let's hear them out. Let's hear
product page, but now we have GeForce 576.88 drivers that are released. Those do mean the 5050 is now supported with the drivers, but we also have a bunch of listings for RTX 5050s that have gone up at Newegg. But you cannot actually purchase any of those yet, which is a little bit weird. It's also kind of weird that there are no independent reviews out for the RTX 5050, given that it is now apparently available for sale in some areas. But the fact that these listings have been created, but that they're not actually available, I'm going to take as a little bit of a silver lining, because I'm going to use this as an opportunity to give you guys 4 very good reasons not to buy the RTX 5050.
Hey, dude, I bet that it is overvolted and underperformed. I feel like this card runs hot. I don't know. I feel like it's going to run hot. I don't know what's telling me in my brain. I have no knowledge of anything 50 series related, but for some reason, I feel like that's going to be a key point.
Excellent.
Today's video is brought to you by the Paul's.
Ow! Whoa! Boom! Ha ha! Whoa! Ha ha! Yo, support you and your channel, man. But no free promo. No free
We have
promo.
some specs and some benchmarks that have been released by NVIDIA. These typically use the 4x frame rate multi-frame generation garbage, which greatly skews the numbers and is very disingenuous, and I would say deceptive, in my opinion, to use when trying to say, here's the performance of a graphic.
Why are they benchmarking it to a 3050? Was there never a 4050 card? Did we skip a 4050? RTX 4050, did we skip it? Oh, I think we did skip 4050. 4060. Oh. See, I never paid attention. That shows you how much out of the loop I've been with GPUs. But yeah, let them talk. Sorry.
Here's the performance of a graphics card. Because there was no sampling or review program for the RTX 5050, the morning of launch, the only actual performance numbers that we have that aren't straight from NVIDIA come from Inno3D, who is actually an add-in board partner. But fortunately, they listed performance numbers without the use of DLSS or multi-frame generation, and they also compared to a couple last-gen cards. Not the 3050 and 4050, but the 3060 and 4060. So bear that in mind. At the top, we have a list of 3D Mark synthetic benchmarks going from Steel Nomad all the way down to Time Spy. And here you'll note that the 5050 is generally able to kind of keep up with the RTX 4060, losing by a little bit in Time Spy Extreme, but otherwise getting a win. We also have 4 more actual games tested here with the 5050 up on top: Borderlands 3, Far Cry 6, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Performance for the 5050 is a little bit
let's take a look at these benchmarks here, okay? Let's take a look at how the 40... Okay, so we got the 5050 compared to the 4060. 4060 got a little bit higher performance. We're not even really considering the 3060. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even know why this is considered in the value of the benchmarks, because everybody knows that 3060, if you didn't go to the TI, if you had a 3060 and you didn't decide to spend that extra 70, 80 bucks and go to the TI, you up. And you know you did. So I don't even know why we're comparing to a 3060, but let's go ahead and let it rock. I mean, these benchmarks, they're pretty close, bro. They're pretty close. And like, let's go look at what's the price of a 4060 right now. If I go to amp, probably shouldn't do that. Let's go look at 4060s. I was thinking like it probably shows my address. I probably shouldn't do that. I mean, look, you can cut back $100 and cut back $100. I mean, you might be losing a little bit of performance, but that $100 might be super important to some people. That $100 might be the finalization of your build.
And those synthetics, it's a little bit behind the RTX 4060 in pretty much every single test. Meanwhile, when compared to the RTX 3060, it maintains a lead of about 15 to 18%. So for a broader comparison there, we're checking Tech Power Up and looking at the RTX 4060. And the Tech Power Up graphs here for relative performance are not the end-all be-all, but this gives us an idea of kind of the ballpark where the 5050 should be. And that would be just slightly behind the RTX 5060, but also in the same general area as the 7600.
Pretty much what he's saying, if I could take this for, you know, what it is that the value of the 5050 compared to the other cards, generational wise, as they move forward, is like the percentage of an upgrade, the percentage of an increase of power that you're getting. It kind of generally seems the same whenever you're branching off from 30 series to 40 series to 50 series, as you start looking as like a previous generation versus a future generation. It kind of seems like it's like if you're 2 generations behind, it's about a 15% performance upgrade. If you're 1 generation behind, it seems like about 7 to 8% upgrade. And I've honestly felt like throughout the years of me being around computers and building computers, I've seen this with NVIDIA every single launch. I'm talking about, I've been around the computers ever since I think my first card was a 970. Then I got a 1050, then I got a 1070, and then I got a 1080 Ti, 2080. Now I'm on the 3060 Ti. So I kind of did this like small little generational upgrade as I could, but at the same time, I've been getting the same about 7 to 8% upgrades as I started moving forward into new generations. Now, if I was to skip now from 3060 Ti into maybe like a 5070, that would be a double generation, and I pretty much would assume that would be like a 15% increase as far as my performance. I don't take that as really as like a much of a surprise. I don't even think that should be something to take back as far as like whether or not you should get a 5050, because for, like I said before, $250. I mean, that $250 could be a very, very, very big deal for people. I mean, some people are down on a budget. I mean, I think my first gaming rig that I built, I think it was a $500 PC. So like $250, that's half your budget on just the GPU. And then so like you could spend $250, finish the rest of the build. I mean, obviously in 2025, you can't do that. You can't do a $500 PC in 2025. But I think with the price margin of a 5050 and it being comparable to like a 4050, actually, for it being more comparable to like a 4060, I think honestly, man, I think for a lot of people, that would be a good entry level build. I'm thinking more outside the box rather than someone who's trying to build like the beefiest computer possible. Like maybe someone is building a computer for their child. Maybe their child has a birthday coming up and they really love Fortnite, but they've been playing on the PlayStation 4 the whole entire time. And he said, Dad, I don't want a PS5. I'm tired of consoles. Dad, can I please get a PC? Well, Dad may not have all the funds to be able to get a PC right there, or downright dropping $2,000 on getting the nicest parts. But maybe Dad could put together something of a budget for $700, $800, and then down the road we could start looking at the upgrade map, and create something that is better for you down the road. But let's go ahead and get you something to start with today. That's what I'm thinking of. I mean, honestly, doesn't sound bad at this point right now. I'm not hearing anything that makes me feel like, oh, the 5050 is terrible. But let's hear him out for the other points.
600 XT, the 1080 Ti. Or if we're looking upward a bit, aspirationally, we have the Arc B580, as well as GPUs like the 3060 Ti, 6700 XT, and 6750 XT. All right, so based on this information, which is limited, but it's pretty much what NVIDIA has given us to work with for this launch, what are the 4 reasons you should not buy an RTX 5050? The number one main reason is that there are much better alternatives, especially if you're looking at buying a brand new card. It's $250 at
There's better alternatives, but are we going to consider those alternatives for the fact that it's only $250? Or are you going to say that there's better alternatives that are like $450, $500? Are you going to double that value, and then you're going to probably put somebody in a position where they are not going to be able to achieve that build that they wanted to get because it's not as budget friendly? Let's be honest now.
minimum.
What up, Swartz? What are you wearing? Black shirt, black shorts. Typical always black. What's the word?
For the RTX 5050, and a lot of aftermarket cards go up from there. There are already listings in the $280.
Oh, wait, and black underwear. Black underwear. Can't forget the blackest of the black. Yeah, what's up, Phenom? What's up, word?
Range. But if
Hold
you're
on, let me hear what
looking
he's
to
got to say.
future-proof yourself just a little bit and make sure that your GPU doesn't suddenly become unable to run some games, you probably want to go beyond the 8 gigabytes of VRAM that you get with the RTX 5050, or the RTX 5060 8 gig for that matter, or the RTX 5060 Ti 8 gig for that matter.
See, he's completely doing exactly what I kind of figured he would do. He's kind of looking at a sense of like, you're going to want performance right now. You're going to want performance. Like, go ahead and get something better now. But like, honestly, performance to value, I don't see why somebody would hate on the 5050 if they were in a situation that they didn't have the finances to go and get like a 5080 or a 5090, the big beefy 5090, bro. What if a person's in a situation they only have $250? Why would you stop them from getting a 5050? That doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense. He said,
All of the
what are
8
you
gig
wearing?
cards that NVIDIA launched this generation had no review program to go alongside them. Oh, interesting. Perhaps even a bit telling. But if you want to go to a much better bang for the buck offering that's still classified down in the budget range, about $350 to $370 should be able to buy you an RX 9060 XT 16 gig. Not only is this card going to give you roughly 30% of a boost in raw performance.
What if that kid wants to be a streamer? I'm not just trying to rebuttal on everything he's saying, but I'm thinking outside the box, trying to come up with, you know what I'm saying, just theories and ideas. What if that kid grew up watching Stable Ronaldo and Ninja playing Fortnite, and now he wants a PC so he can go ahead and stream? Wouldn't he want the NVENC coding from the NVIDIA card, and he would perform better streaming-wise on a 5050? Gaming performance would be better on a 9060, but I honestly feel like if it's a situation where you're building a budget situation, like a budget build for a child or as a young teenager, I don't think that they're caring about that extra 20 to 24 frames. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think that they see it. I don't think that they care about it. I think they're like, hey, I got a keyboard and a mouse and I got a computer. I'm ready to rock and roll, dude. Let's rip it, dude. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know why they're doing that. Shorts and a t-shirt on the way to work. Is it hot? I bet it's fucking hot, dude. Because, like, right now, I ain't gonna lie, I got my window partially open. And, like, if I didn't have shorts and a t-shirt, if I was wearing pants right now, ooh, I'm already knowing my balls would be sweaty. Yo, already knowing.
Performance, at least if we're comparing to the RTX 4060, you're also going to get 16 gigs of VRAM instead of 8, which means you're not going to hit a hard cap with some games that you play, especially if you're looking at playing newer titles, and especially if you want to play at higher resolutions, like 2560 by 1440 at higher refresh rates. Unfortunately,
once again, if they're getting a GPU for $250, do you really think that they're caring about playing at higher resolution? Like, the GPU costs at $250. Do you think that they're going to go spend $500 on making sure that they get a 4K monitor? I mean, I'm sitting here doing the math and it just doesn't add up. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Today actually isn't bad. It's 80 something. That's nice. Okay. Yesterday was. Let me see what it is for me right now. I'm actually curious. I'm forgetting that I'm recording a YouTube video at the time right now anyway too. So I gotta remember. Hey, do an edit. Edit this part out. Do an edit. Edit that part out. I gotta remind myself. All right, let's see what it is right now for me. 89 feels like 104. Woo! Yo, and I was thinking that we were gonna go ride the bike today, dude. I don't know. 89 from like 104. What's up with that huge gap? Like, where did you get 20 degrees from? What the f, bro? Oh, it's gonna be like that all day. Woo. But at least it's gonna be cloudy. The sun's not beaming all day. Like here in like an hour, it's gonna get cloudy, so that's nice. 84 feels like 91. See, like that makes sense. That makes sense, especially where you are. I guess it makes sense where I'm at though. But like, where'd you get 20 degrees from? They pulled a whole dub out their pocket. The f, you know what, bro? I'm so tired of this weather. This weather, God, bro. This weather makes me sick, bro. Like I go outside and I just be wanting to like do stuff. And then immediately I want to go back inside and go take a shower, bro, and just sit my ass like naked in the living room with my balls out, bro, just because it's so hot. Pause. Wait, what? Got crazy rain last night. Oh, is it humid though? 116? Oh my goodness. Whoa. Yo, 116, I would have went out there and fried an egg and made a TikTok out of it just for the fun of it. I've never done that. I should have did that when I was a kid, fried an egg on the sidewalk. 70 feels like 75 is actually nice today. Hey, say, bro. I'm saying, you coming over here just bragging about your, bro, he over here bragging about his temperature over there. Yo, he over here bragging about his weather. Bro, all right, bro. This is what we doing? All right, bro. That's what we doing. I didn't know that's what we doing, bro. I didn't know that's what we doing. No. Don't say it's going to be 102 by 2 because you already made me feel like I was trying to aura farm, clip farm, open that door. I forgot how hot it is out there. I got hit with a heat wave. Bro, I'm not doing that again. Bro. All right, roll the video. Hold on. Back to the YouTube. Back to the YouTube edit. All right, roll the video.
Actually, these cards can still be a little tough to find at their $350 MSRP. As of the making of this video, the cheapest one I found for sale in the US was $370. So that is quite a bit more to spend over the supposed $250 asking price.
Yeah, it's like 120 more.
I will make a soft recommendation.
No one is buying an Intel GPU. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. I'm not going to sit here and allow this guy to sit here and say, go get an Intel GPU. Oh, my camera's lagging. Because, like, let's be honest, no one is doing that. No one's doing that. I'm going to be completely honest. No one's doing that. Like, ever since Intel came out with GPUs, I haven't seen not one person have it in their computer. Hey, somebody let me know who has an Intel GPU because I need to have a talk with them. I need to have a real die-hard talk with them. Why did they do it?
Intel Arc B570 or B580. These cards, unfortunately, are still selling for $50 to $80 over their MSRP. The B570 should be a $200 card. Here you'd be making a little bit of a compromise and perhaps standing on principle and helping to support the Intel Arc.
See, he's saying exactly what I was thinking in my head. The only reason you would buy an Intel GPU is because if you actually are a die-hard Intel fan and you just been that way since in the beginning of time, since prehistoric days. That's the only reason I feel like somebody would buy an Intel GPU. But if you sit here and actually just look at these benchmarks, the B570 would actually be a setback from what would be like between the 4060 and the 5060. That's kind of where the 5050 would lie at. You would be putting yourself back about 7 to 8% in performance. And ultimately, it would cost you more money. It would cost you more money. He literally just said that they're already going for like $50, $70 over MSRP. So you would buy that, and then you would be in a situation where I underperform myself just to say that I got an Intel. Man, bro, we're not doing that.
Program, which we're hoping will continue to be a thing. So we have a third option alongside AMD and NVIDIA. That said, the 4060 still outperforms the B570 by about 15% or so. Which is why this is a challenging recommendation at $260. You do get 2 more gigs of VRAM, bumping it up to 10 gigs. But if you really want to go Intel Arc, I'd say try to scrape together $300 and go for the B580, which is a 12 gig card available for $300. And again, though, this one is selling for over
2670 megahertz clock speed. What's the 550? Did it say? RTX 550. All right. 2317 megahertz. So yes, you get more VRAM, but it's a slower card. So where are we actually gonna make our sacrifice at? Honestly, in a situation like I'm presenting it, if you're building a computer for a child, for a kid, as a gift, entry level PC, don't see anything wrong with a 5050.
MSRP, it should be
Even if I
$250.
don't see anything wrong with
If
it.
it was $250, I'd say go for this all day. But then there are two other available at retail, new current generation cards that would also be alternatives. Those are the $300 options, which starts with the RX 9060 XT. Now, I already recommended the 9060 XT 16 gig, and I would say definitely go for that option if you can, but they started...
If that kid wasn't gonna stream, let's be honest. If that kid wasn't gonna stream, then yes, go some Radeon, go an RX card, go a 9060. But if that kid did plan on trying to stream, please be smart and get that kid an NVIDIA card.
370. The 9060 XT 8 gig will give you more performance than an RTX 5050 because we already know it gives you more performance than an RTX 5060. Those are currently selling for their MSRP of $300. And then lastly, we have the RTX 5060 8 gig, which does have 33% more CUDA cores versus the RTX 5050. So I would say between the 5050 and the 5060 8 gig, I would go for the 5060 8 gig.
Well, that's a no-brainer. I mean, honestly, if that person had the $50, I don't understand why you would not go to the 5060. If that $50 would give you that 13% upgrade, why not just go to the 5060? That's if you had the $50 to spare. But then again, he was also giving us some other options from Intel for $50 more that was underperforming. Like, what is this dude talking about? I actually really like this content. Now I just feel like he's talking. He's
For
jibber jabber right now.
which it can be purchased for right now, but I would go for any of those other GPUs I just mentioned first before the 5060 8
Didn't really give why.
gig. But a lot of those recommendations are
Because in my head, I think that going $50 more to a 5060 and getting actually a performance upgrade versus spending $50 more to go to Intel and actually get a decrease in your performance kind of sounds like I should just be going the 5060 route if that's the pitch you're trying to throw here. But at the same time too, maybe he's an Intel fanboy. You never know. He might be getting paid for this. He might be getting paid for this by Intel. You never know. You gotta start thinking this outside the box.
require you to spend
This could be a hashtag ad.
$100 more on your graphics card. If you're really trying to stick to that $250-ish budget, then item number 2 on my list is that there are much better used GPU alternatives. And that would include anything that's higher up than the 4060 on this list, preferably from NVIDIA's last couple generations, which would be the RTX 30 series or 40 series, or if you're looking at AMD Radeon cards, 6000 series or 7000 series, I wouldn't go any further back than that. So we'll start off with the RX 7600 XT 16 gig. This is not a very good card at this price. I just pulled this up because it is a current retail listing. It is a card that has 16 gigs of VRAM. With the used market, your mileage may vary depending on what's available in your area or where you're looking for listings, whether it's eBay or somewhere else like that. But I would definitely pull up a search.
Does anybody trust the used market when it comes to GPUs? I really don't. Ever since data mining, like crypto mining, bro, I don't trust the used market when it comes to GPUs at all. Someone can give you a good deal and it will work all fine, but he would probably ram that card all the way down into the ground and you probably would only have like 3 months of life left. That's my thing that I'd be scared of when it comes to used GPUs. Is that like, dude, you don't know what you're getting, dude. It's like buying a used car. It might run. It might get you from point A to point B, but it might have some underlying problems that you never knew about until, hey, you had it for a few months. Now you're over here calling the dude, hey, you didn't tell me that. Yeah, you ran it 300 miles and then reset the odometer. 300,000 miles, you reset the odometer. Like, I don't know. That's what I feel. I'll be scared.
Search for the 7600 XT to see if I could find any compelling deals there.
3060. We've already looked at the benchmarks compared to the 3060 and the 5050, and honestly, we saw that 15% decrease. I don't know what the 3060 is priced at, but it's always been rumored to be a bad card. Like, from launch, it ran hot and was undervolted, so like, I don't even know why we're still considering the 3060 in 2025. If anything, I think I would have pitched it up against the 3060 Ti. But then at the same time, too, what is the 3060 Ti even going for nowadays? Let's take a look. Is that even comparable in price range? I mean, MSRP 329. I mean, that's a lot more. That's like $70 more than the 5050. Hard debate right there. Hard debate.
If you do want to stick to NVIDIA, but you don't want to give them money directly, I suppose you could look for a used RTX 3060. Go for the 12 gigs of VRAM option. These also can be currently found available, like to buy new.
Okay.
This one, for example, is listed for $300 directly for.
But if you were gonna go, oh, I'm sitting here thinking 300 for a 3060. Oh, pardon me. Oh my God, my brain just farted. It's just still $300 for a 3060, not even a Ti. Why would you do that compared to a 5050? If that $50 difference, you're paying $50 more to get a slower card just because it has higher VRAM. I mean, it also depends, I guess, what you're gonna play. If you're gonna be playing like some of the newer titles that are like demanding, you're playing Cyberpunk and Dune Awakening and Expedition 33 or whatever it's called. If you're playing on Chrono Odyssey, these are some games I'm like, okay, maybe you would want to go the VRAM route. But bro, if it's just a situation of like, bro, I need this card just to play some games, bro, get a higher clock speed. Get a higher clock speed.
For sale from MSI, but for $300, this is also obviously not a good deal. But the used market should have these for at least, I would say, $200 or less. But if you're looking on the used market, it can be worth your while to look at cards that might be a little bit higher up. The RTX 3070 unfortunately only has an 8GB VRAM buffer. That said, in terms of raw performance for everything except for ray tracing, it should outperform a 5060 Ti. And again, we're just spot checking eBay prices right now, but it looks like these are pretty readily available for less than $300. Of course, if you're looking
I would not get a card off of eBay. I'm gonna be completely honest. I would not buy a card off of eBay because, like, if I got the card and it just started like failing on me at some point, like I kind of want you to still be in arm's reach, like still like phone call, like, hey, I'm about to pull up on you, man. The car's acting up. I need you to take a look at it, or maybe we could just, I gotta, get a return or something like that. I need to be close to you so I could talk to you and like maybe just get in contact with you, pull up to your house, pull up to your job, so I could be like, hey, man, what's going on? eBay, on the other hand, those sales were final. Oh, so I don't understand what you could do. Like, if you got a bad card from eBay, is eBay gonna even like replace it for you or anything like that, or is it kind of like you get what you get type deal?
At retail listings, do note that some cards are listed like for parts or not working, so you probably want to skip over those. And if you try to sort by price, that's probably what you're going to see first, is cards that are dead or not fully functional. But like I said, with the used market, there's a lot of variance, so I'd recommend buying from a buyer that has a decent feedback rating, that's had their account for quite some time, especially if you're meeting with someone, try to meet up in a public area, and if you can, bring a test system or something like that.
He just said, hey, bro, don't get robbed. He said, don't get robbed.
So you can verify that the card is functional before you actually make a purchase. Other GPUs I would take a look at to see if you can find good deals on the used market would be the Radeon RX 6700 or 6750 XT, the Radeon RX 7700 XT, or even something like the NVIDIA RTX.
So he's literally just saying the same thing that he was saying before. His reason two is the same reason behind reason one. You just spend more money for a better GPU, but what if that is not what if that's not the case? What if like someone is not in a position where they could spend an extra $50, $70, $100 for a GPU that is better? What if $250 is all that they have? He still hasn't shown anything around a $250 range that was comparable to the 5050. He showed something else that was a little bit more expensive than $250, $270. He said it was Intel, but it was underperforming compared to the 5050. I mean, in that situation, you would just be buying Intel because you love Intel, like I was saying before. Still, I don't like this take. Honestly, the saying that there's better GPUs. I mean, there's always better GPUs. It doesn't matter what the fuck you have. There's always better GPUs. You could have a 5090 right now, but I promise you there's going to be something better. Give it 2 years, and then you're going to be outperformed by something else. It's the same thing with cars. There's always going to be something faster. It's like, you're never going to have the top of the top elite when it comes to computers. And like, people need to start realizing that. Like, start understanding and researching and like your budget, and then put yourself in a box of that budget and build the best you can within your budget. Don't allow somebody to persuade you to spend more money if you're not comfortable with it. Like, if $250 is what you have for a GPU, get the best GPU possible. Get a 5050. Don't let a guy like this tell you otherwise to make you go spend more money just because. I honestly don't agree with it.
3070 Ti. All right, moving on to my other two reasons you should not buy an RTX 5050, and I've already mentioned it, but the 8GB VRAM buffer is a serious limitation that if you're forward-looking and you want to play higher resolution games, or especially new titles that are coming out recently, a lot of those can eat up your VRAM buffer very quickly. And as was shown on many of the reviews for the RTX 5060 8GB, when you run...
Did you guys see what I'm seeing? Before I even let him go over these benchmarks, you see what I'm seeing? Let's go back just a second. Actually, let's just go back a few frames. What's at the top of this right here? The game that I never heard of this game, so I don't even know like performance-wise what it looks like, how it runs, but it's called Stalker 2. But they are benchmarking this at 4K resolution on Epic preset. So max graphics, max resolution. why are we even considering this when we're talking about a 50-50? You're just literally doing this benchmark to further escalate your thought process that you can get a better car that is higher performing for more money. But we're not even thinking about the fact that, like, what if that's all they have? Jesus Christ, dude.
5060 8 gig, when you run out of VRAM, your performance pretty much drops to nothing, and you can't really play the game without adjusting settings, lowering the resolution. That's not to say games are completely unplayable, and that is something that I feel like gets pushed very often when we talk about the 8 gig VRAM limitation. There are definitely ways to work around it, but it typically involves giving up some level of visual fidelity or performance, and there really is nothing else with a GPU that can suddenly present you with a hard stop like running out of VRAM can. And if you want some further support,
I'll be completely honest, I've been on 8 gig cards. I was on an 8 gig 1070 for almost 5 years. The only time I ran into bottleneck issues, I am so sorry, I can't talk today. The only time I ran into bottleneck issues with my VRAM was 5M. It was Grand Theft Auto 5M. And that's because there's so much to that game. It's not actually just base Grand Theft Auto. You have all these extra mods and all these extra assets that are added to the game that make it fully customized. That's the only time 8 gigabytes of VRAM ever became an issue. And I just had to drop some of the scaling down. I wasn't able to play on high, or epic. I had to play on normal. I honestly don't even think it was that big of an issue, because I could run some old clips on that 1070. I was still dropping, still clearing people. So honestly, I don't know. I haven't seen another game that pretty much said 8 gigabytes isn't enough to play. But then at the same time, I'm not playing at 4K resolution, and I'm not playing on Epic. This argument doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because if someone's gonna be playing at 4K resolution on Epic settings, I know that they're not even considering getting a card that is in the 50 cents. Now, in the 50 cents, I'm talking about like halfway through the bridge of the generation. They're not getting a 50-50. They're not getting a 40-60, 40-50. They're not getting a 30-50. They're not getting anything that's in the mid-range. If you're looking at getting epic performance on the highest resolution possible, you got a big 4K monitor, curved monitor. It wraps around your whole room. It's got the what's that called? The Samsung Galaxy monitor, like that big one. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That's curved, wrapped around your whole entire face. Bro, if you got all that, you're not thinking about getting a 50-50. Let's be honest, dude. Let's be honest. You're thinking about, how can I get a 50-90? How many packs of ramen noodles do I have to eat to save money to get a 50-90? How much money do I have to put away and then not tell my wife about that I'm saving up to get a 50-90? How am I going to hide this from the credit card statements and then slowly start paying this shit off $100 every 2 weeks to make sure that my wife doesn't see that I spent, hold on, here goes the ring-a-dinger, $1,400 on a graphics card, because that's what these people are looking to spend. They're not looking in a sense of like $250 for a graphics card. The people who want to play epic 4K resolution, they want to spend the high dollar to make sure that they can play that. This makes sense.
Support for this directly from gamers who have been buying stuff. It came out just today. We have some sales data from European retailer Mind Factory, and this is not representative of the entire market or anything like that, but apparently people bought 16 times more RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigs versus the 8 gig variant, which is actually a little bit uplifting, because it means that, as we've been telling people, hey,
I can tell you exactly why they did that. Wait, what I'm so sorry. I went. What was the card he was comparing it to?
The 8 gig variant, which is more RTX 5060 Ti 16 gigs.
5060 Ti, 490. What is this, a $500 card? Wait, didn't the 5050 just come out? So how can you even base it off of sales if the card just came out? The card's like 2 weeks old, right?
Versus the 8 gig variant, which is actually a little bit uplifting, because it means that, as we've been telling people, hey,
what up,
8 gigs is not enough if you're buying a new graphic.
5090 costs over 3K here? Fuck that. I don't have that type of money. Yo, look at the message I just got from this dude in Kick. Yo, hold on. Pause the recording for a second. Look at this message I got from this dude on Kick. Yo, Ash DF, thanks so much for the follow, dude. This dude's name is... This is hilarious. I've never seen something like this. This is hilarious. Hold on. Dude's name is Period Blood Drinker 89. He goes KFC, watermelon, Kool-Aid, grape soda, pimping her, baby mama, baby daddy, basketball, BET Awards, do-rag, hip-hop, rap battle, sagging pants, gold teeth, big lips, Hennessy, Section 8, Jordans, mixtape, swimming lessons, prison, parole, mugshot, crib, Timberlands, a Hellcat, barbershop, fire alarm. Yo, this just pulled out a whole entire like encyclopedia about black people. Holy, hold that ban, you. Hey, you know what? Actually, hold on. I'm gonna unban you because look. I want to hear what you got to say as a rebuttal. So, actually, nah, cause I want to say something's gonna get me banned. I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm just gonna leave you banned, bro, because I actually wanted to clap at you, but I'm not gonna do that because I'm actually becoming a better person, and I'm actually like pursuing a lot of positivity in my life and instilling that I ensure my happiness stays inside of me. So you know what, we not gonna do that to you today. You know what I'm saying? We not gonna do that to you today. He said the fire alarm though. That shit's crazy. Somebody making me some pork chop Alfredo, and the fuck you is not. Hey, at least she's making you food. Hey, do the math. At least she's making you food.
Graphics card in 2025, especially if you're spending $400 plus. That message apparently has been getting through. So thank you to all the people who made the right choice and opted to upgrade to a 16 gig version. The fourth reason you should not buy an RTX 5050 is purely based on principle. And maybe that is a significant factor for you, maybe it is not. But once again, this is the third 8GB RTX Blackwell GPU from the 50 series that they have launched, and it seems fairly intentional.
So wait, are we talking about the 5060 now? We're not talking about the 5050 anymore?
Cards that launched in the stack that they did not want independent coverage of these cards, and the reasoning, as far as I can tell, in my opinion, is because they wanted to be deceptive about it. They wanted people to only be able to view the NVIDIA marketing slides that they made with all these manipulated numbers, heavily using DLSS4 frame generation to greatly increase the perceived performance.
I can't do that. I feel like he's going down a rabbit hole just talking now at this point. Hey, you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and rock out with it. I think that honestly, if you got $250, I think the 5050 is a great choice. If you don't have $250 and if you have more than $250, obviously get something better that is more comfortable. But understand your budget, fit inside your budget, and work with it, man. That's all I got to say about it.